You've probably felt it too. That quiet presence in the room when you're alone. The way a certain song, scent, or place brings someone back, not in your mind, but in your body. You feel them, not as a memory, as a presence, not past tense, present. People say grief fades with time, but you know that's not true. It changes form. It hides, it waits, and sometimes it speaks not in words, but in synchronicities, in dreams, in moments when the air feels thicker with meaning. In this video, we're going to explore a question you might not have dared to ask out loud. What if the people you've lost are never really gone? What if they still walk beside you, just not where you can see? This isn't about belief systems or ghost stories. This is about presence, energy, and the way souls continue to echo long after the body is gone. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The weight you still carry isn't just grief. It's connection. When someone you love dies, something unexplainable happens. The world doesn't just change, it splits. There's the world with them, and the world without. But here's the strange thing. Even in the without, you can still feel them. You catch yourself thinking, I should tell them this, and then you remember. You hear their voice in your head, not as imagination, but as instinct. You can almost feel their reaction. That isn't denial. That's not delusion. It's the residue of a bond too deep to disappear. Grief isn't the absence of someone. It's the proof that the connection still exists, even when the form doesn't. And sometimes, when the noise quiets, you know they're still near. Chapter 2. Dreams aren't always fiction. Sometimes their visitation sits 3 a.m. You wake up crying, not because the dream was sad, but because it was real. They were there. You hugged them. You heard their voice. And it felt like everything was okay for just a few seconds. These dreams don't feel like the others. They're clearer, vivid, timeless. Some people call these grief dreams. Others call them psychological coping. But for many, these dreams don't feel like the brain. They feel like the soul remembering something it's not supposed to forget. What if the dream wasn't a creation? What if it was a meeting place? A liminal space between worlds, just long enough to remind you they're not gone. You're just on different frequencies now. Chapter 3. Synchronicities are soul signals. You think of them, and the song they loved comes on. You say their name, and someone across the room says it too. You're going through your worst day, and a butterfly lands on your shoulder, just like the one they loved. Coincidence? Maybe or maybe. It's the soul reaching across the veil in the only ways it still can. Through patterns, through moments, through signals your heart knows how to read, even when your brain says that's impossible. Sometimes, life arranges itself so perfectly you can't not believe. Chapter 4. The energies we bond with never truly leave. There's something science is starting to acknowledge more openly. Energy doesn't die. It changes form. When someone loves you, when you laugh with them, cry with them, sit in silence with them, your energies blend. You become part of each other. And when they die, that bond doesn't dissolve. It lingers. Sometimes in your thoughts, sometimes in your body, sometimes in the room, like a presence just beyond the edge of language. You carry their laugh in your smile, their wisdom in your choices, their heart in the way you love others. They are not just memories. They are ingredients in the recipe of who you now are. Chapter 5. Some goodbyes are spiritual contracts. Not everyone you lose was supposed to stay. Some people come into your life not to last forever, but to teach you something your soul was waiting to learn. Maybe they loved you when you didn't love yourself. Maybe they broke you open so you could rebuild differently. Maybe they left before you were ready, because you were meant to discover your strength through that very pain. Soul contracts aren't always kind, but they are sacred. The pain of losing them isn't punishment. It's a push toward the next version of you, one they helped shape, even if they couldn't stay to see it. Chapter 6. Grief lives in the body, but so does love. You think you're over it. And then a smell, a song, or a place drops you to your knees. That's not weakness. That's not starting over. That's your body remembering love in its rawest form, because the body doesn't speak in words. It speaks in tears, in goosebumps, in stillness. And sometimes, when you feel like you're grieving, you're not actually mourning the past. You're feeling love, still trying to reach its source. Chapter 7. They may speak through others. Ever had someone say exactly what you needed to hear, using the same words your person would have used? A stranger smiles at you, and suddenly you feel seen again. A child touches your hand, and your heart breaks open with warmth. What if those aren't just random kindnesses? What if love keeps finding new vessels? What if the ones who left borrow voices and glances and gestures just for a moment to remind you they're not far? Love adapts. It finds loopholes. And if you're paying attention, you'll feel it in the smallest moments. Chapter 8. Moving on doesn't mean letting go. There's a lie that gets repeated too often. You have to let go to move on. But the truth is, you don't have to let go of them. You just have to let go of the pain. There's no expiration date on love. There's no finish line for grief. You're allowed to carry them with you. In the way you live, in the choices you make, in the stories you tell, in the compassion you give. They don't belong in the past. They belong in your forever. Chapter 9. Some souls stay as guides sometimes. After the hardest loss, your life starts shifting. You notice you're protected in ways you can't explain. Opportunities appear out of nowhere. You narrowly miss something that could have hurt you. And you wonder, who's watching out for me? Maybe the ones who left didn't leave to rest. Maybe they left to lead. To guide. To whisper in your ear when you're about to give up. To plant signs in your path when you're lost. Their role changed, but their mission didn't. Chapter 10. You'll see them again, but you're still here for a reason, whether you believe in reincarnation, heaven, the afterlife, or something else entirely. There's a feeling many people carry deep in their chest, even if they never say it aloud. I will see them again. That belief isn't weakness. It's not denial. It's ancient knowing. But until that day comes, you're still here. And maybe part of the reason they had to leave was to wake you up. To help you cherish more. Forgive faster. Speak louder. Love deeper. Because they can't live this life anymore. But you can. And maybe, just maybe, they're still living it. Through you. The people you lose aren't really gone. They shift into memory, into energy, into unseen presence. They become the reason you light candles. The whisper that keeps you going. The love that refuses to fade. And in the quiet moments, when your heart is still enough, you can feel it. They're still here. Not in the past. Not in the future. But walking with you now. If you've ever felt the presence of someone you've lost, share your story in the comments. And if this video touched something deep in you, subscribe. More stories, more soul deep topics are waiting. You're not alone, and neither are they.